This announcement is so important that Jay-Z tweeted about it after being silent on Twitter for over 2 years, I think it was the last time he tweeted. So Square announced today that they are acquiring Jay-Z's music streaming platform Tidal. In the announcement, they said that the platform will operate independently within the Square universe alongside Seller and Cash App. And Jack Dorsey said, new ideas are found at intersections, and we believe there's a compelling one between music and the economy. So this got me thinking, are Jack and Jay-Z entering the NFT space? I mean, they have this streaming platform now. They have access to these mainstream artists that we've been talking about on this show that we would love to see get into space. Is that where they're going? Or am I just overrun with NFT stories and that's just my brain is?
You might be onto something there. Zach, what are your thoughts?
I'll take a hack at it. I mean, I don't think it's necessarily about NFTs, but more about eliminating middlemen. This I've yet to fully engage with this story, but this immediately drew to my mind a company in the blockchain space called Audius, which is sort of like a decentralized Spotify, right? And the idea here is that you can give greater ownership rights to the artists on these platforms than they're otherwise able to enjoy in Spotify and Apple Music and centralized parties. So I guess what I think when I think of this, you can set the terms of how you are compensated for your music, and that might be really interesting. We've seen some nascent examples around it. Audius again is the one that comes to mind. But if Tidal were to kind of pivot in that direction of artist centricity, it could get really interesting given Jack's interest in payments technology and Bitcoin specifically. So, but Will, what's up?
Yeah, so this story popped into my mind, an older story from Chamath. I won't try to butcher his last name, but the venture capitalist, Facebook. I think everyone knows his name at this point. But when he was first getting involved in larger venture capital in the early 2010s, one of his first pitches and eventual buys was the Golden State Warriors. And his thought process for that was, if I'm going to look at a market and invest in something, I want something that's kind of like different than everything else. That's something that's like totally uncorrelated. And an NBA team is like extremely uncorrelated from the rest of the market. And he bought that, or he got a large stake in that basketball team in the beginning of like the Great Recession. And the Warriors since then have obviously won like 3 championships and been a pretty great investment overall. So that kind of brought my mind with this Square investment, where Square has purchased Bitcoin, which is uncorrelated with everything else. And they've also purchased this Tidal company, which is music, which is also very uncorrelated with the rest of the market, I'm assuming. It's kind of interesting to see like a large bank like Square putting its fingers in these pies that are so different from each other, just to kind of like hedge itself against the rest of the market. I'll toss over to Ben.
Yeah, I think this is just another demonstration that Jay-Z is a very wise man, because he did not tweet for 2 years, which is something all of us can probably learn and grow into.
You think he forgot his password?
No.
And Jack just let him back in.
Yeah, exactly.
No, I think what could be interesting here, and something that just came to mind thinking, Twitter obviously is going to be rolling out kind of this super follower function and working with like micro tipping and other things on the platform, and kind of tiering up levels of access. And I wonder if we might see something potentially similar with Tidal. Obviously, Twitter and Square both, Jack Dorsey is kind of the founder of both of them. And that could be something interesting we might see here, is like, being able to tip different artists potentially, or, kind of drive different revenue streams beyond just a standard subscription fee for Tidal itself. So that's something that came to mind. That might be an option, in addition to, hey, potentially NFTs. Why not? But Naomi, I want to hear what your thoughts are on this one.
Yeah, so I think that the cutting out the middleman is definitely where people's heads are right now. This isn't the first platform that's tried something like that, if they end up going that direction. Back in 2014, I was on a platform called Watch My Bit by Doug Scribner, and it was a video platform, but it was like pay-per-view, right? It was like, just Bitcoin at the time. I think maybe Litecoin as well. But the idea was that you didn't need distributors. If you like had a film, I produced this feature film 2015, blockchain. And so we put that on Watch My Bit, for example. So, you know, there was this way that people could pay directly rather than have to go through all of these different people. Like when you have the internet, you kind of have distribution at your fingertips. And we're starting to figure out how to leverage that and how to democratize that. And we're really changing business models. So it's a super interesting industry. I like Tidal, kind of looking at it, I'm like, what's different about it from Spotify? You know, and they say things like, well, we're giving back to the artists and all this. But like a couple of years ago, Taylor Swift made Spotify change their rules and give artists a bunch more money. So I don't understand what differentiates it. So if they are going maybe the NFT route or the, you know, get a partial dividend or something, that's really interesting. We have things like BIP70. So something like that, it allows you to immediately split coins in a single transaction and send parts to artists. Like implementing stuff like that in the crypto space is super exciting. So I hope they go in that direction.
Yeah, I think Tidal is definitely the late aughts warriors of the current streaming platforms. And that's to say that they were pretty bad at the time. But hey, championships may be in the future. We shall see.